welcome to the show. This is a kind of a special episode of the podcast because there is a video element. If you want to watch it, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's Wonderful Color at youtube.com. I think that's I don't know. Just search Wonderful Color on YouTube. I'm here with I've been friends with you on Snap for like 4 years now. And I always, in my mind, every time I see your name, I say Dugu, and I like have my mouth posture like this. Is this right?
Good.
You told me, right?
Uh-huh.
Last time I talked.
Yeah, but long time ago.
Okay, then I guess I was saying it right. So I first heard about Dugu on a podcast 4 years ago. Kent buys the Voices of VR podcast number, I don't remember, 360 or something like that. And she was on talking about her love for Snapchat and how it was going to change the world and bring about authenticity in the universe. And I was so excited to listen to this interview because I felt so similarly. I was like, oh my God, someone else feels the same way as me. And I found you on Twitter. I reached out and I said, I've got to talk to you. And then we had a long conversation on video chat. We didn't record that one. And we just talked about our experience with Snapchat and stuff. I don't know. Do you want to say anything? You work in augmented reality and other things, correct? Do you want to give like a more background of what you do in your life?
Yeah, I've been working on consumer apps for a while now, and the last few startups have been all either related to mixed reality or hardware. Except this current one, which is still on the down low. It's also a consumer app, but that's not quite out yet. But it's not in augmented reality. Except, yeah, I had a long, fun journey in trying to bring AR to the masses.
When I re-listened to your interview with Kent yesterday as for preparation for this, and he actually pronounced your name insane, which is why I questioned my pronunciation. He was like, it was like Diao Giao or something like that. It was weird. I was like, wait.
Well, like I allow people to kind of have their own interpretation after it took my husband like 10 years to get it right. Like I've basically zero hope about it. But the U sound in Duygu is really hard. It's just
Duygu.
But you're pretty close. It's very impressive, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. I always laugh thinking about like, how people must hear it in their own heads when they see my name on Twitter or when it's just in writing.
Yeah, I like it. Well, every time I see it, I think my mouth sort of just makes the pot. Do Daniels.
Yeah.
Where was I? Oh yeah. And so I was listening to Kent's podcast, and I was shocked by how absolutely giddy you were about Snapchat. You were just like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy I get to talk about Snapchat."
Yeah.
I wrote down one loose quote that you said towards the end that was just a general theme of what you were saying, sort of wrapping up what you were sort of getting at, which was, you said, self-love. We're hopefully slowly going to accept ourselves for who we are on the internet. We felt like, this is the thing, you and I both felt like Snapchat was this like Trojan horse bringing about realness on the internet, where in the past we on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, it was all about like presenting this curated version of yourself for the masses and trying to like get more and more followers. And we saw Snapchat as this thing that was like the anti-social network, right?
Exactly.
You want to summarize? You want to expand on what did you think Snapchat was going to do?
Now, when I look back, I'm not sure if it was my kind of youthful naivete, if it was a hopeful prediction that at some point, went in a different direction, or if it was just, just kind of basic human excitement towards something novel. In hindsight, I don't know which one it was.
I feel similarly. Like it was such a new. I was wondering this at the time, like, is this just a new social network and it just doesn't have the context yet, and so I'm injecting my hopes about what it is into it, because there was not a lot of culture around it yet in 2016. There was, but not like there is now. Oh, and the reason why I asked to talk to you today is because I saw a post on Twitter from you the other day, which was you chat flicking through the lenses and being like, just seeing like different Kardashian face after Kardashian face, like nose job, chin job, every type of facial surgery. And you said you were going to leave Snapchat. I actually saw that you looked at my Snap today, so you haven't yet left Snapchat.
I installed the app for you.
Oh, you reinstalled? So you really did delete it?
I did because so for the longest time I was expecting them to at least disclose the type of body modification that they did with the filters, that they would say, okay, here are the points on your face that was modified. My issue is that, young girls and boys won't even understand what the application is doing, and they'll just think that they're, the filter is doing some type of magic that's making them look pretty. But I was wondering if at least there would be some conversation around disclosing what it is that might at least give them some idea, and might be helpful in some way. Granted, I don't know much about body dysmorphia and how, like, to prevent it, but it could do the opposite, where if they did disclose the type of modifications they did, they could be like, oh, okay, like, this is what I need to, this is the recipe that I could take to my plastic surgeon or my whatever laser treatment center and get it done.
So wait, so you imagine that there would be a filter, and I don't know, can you explain that, go into detail a little bit of what you were hoping for each, like, so say a lens, I put on a lens. Oh, and I'm actually running SnapCam right now. So let me find just like a regular.
Ugh, I wanted to run it too, but for some reason
this one. This one actually isn't doing too much. This one's just like a Christmassy one. These are like featured ones. And the baby.
Oh.
But yeah, so these ones aren't too crazy.
These are great.
But basically, any lens in Snapchat will smooth your skin. A lot of them make your chin more narrow. A lot of them make your nose more skinny.
Right here. They fill up your under eyes. So, for instance, a big aspect of sort of the Middle Eastern look, the Mediterranean look, sometimes could be those under eyes that kind of give a really, which I personally love, gives authentic a characteristic to the person, and it's part of how I see it. It's part of our culture. I don't mind it. I mean, granted, everyone has the right to modify themselves, but it automatically, in most of the filters, just gets rid of it.
Are you talking about just like what people call bags?
Yes. So right now I have some concealer on. So I wish I didn't put it on, actually, now that I think about it, so I can show you. But so it basically just, like, gets rid of your under eyes. But so much of my facial features, so much of it is defined by my under eyes. I feel like it's a big part of my character.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I have pretty baggy. I didn't think of it as part. I'm like, I guess I have like Sicilian ancestry, and I think that's why I have under eye bags also. And I don't like them. And my little brother, he wears concealer, real life concealer, for his under eye bags. But so in the podcast with Kent, you kept mentioning, like, of course, all these filters will smooth your skin, and there has to be a conversation about that. You kept mentioning there's got to be a conversation about that. Not that you were against augmentation at all, but the conversation. So imagine I have this filter on. It's making my nose skinny. What kind of did you want? Like a little information bubble, and what would you imagine that would have said? Or like, what did you imagine?
Yeah, I was thinking about writing to Snapchat and asking them if they've considered a few things, one of which is just at the bottom of the filter, disclosing exactly what it is that this filter is doing. So, so at least there's knowledge about it. Everything starts from, transparency and knowledge. To be able to have a conversation, we have to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I, as a designer, can notice the subtle differences in what does, like cheekbones, or sometimes some of them even like slightly, I don't know if it's intentional, but slightly separate your eyes, make it even further.
Mm-hmm.
In the world of feminine beauty, or for all sort of people, it is a real issue. We have a lot of things that we like and don't like about ourselves, and I'm just worried about people's mental well-beings.
So you wonder. So you think that if people knew what modifications they were making, then they, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Snapchat's not going to get rid of them. It's when the technology's out, it's out. And now that there's many creators who are making the decision to create these lenses as well, what's the minimum? Where can we start? And the only solution I could think of was at least disclosing what it's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's fair, because it's fun to see yourself in different states. I'm not completely against it, but I think when I was talking to Kent back then, I was still very, very interested and excited about tools.
Yeah.
Very still excited about the potential of consumer apps, and to an extent I still am, except I think we're at a point where I think I care about people's well-being more so than the tools.
Yeah, you talked a lot about how, even though sure these might make your face look more hegemonically beautiful, I don't think you said that, but but
listeners,
but that this might be that looking, like, not liking the way your face looks at a time, at any given time, might be the difference between you communicating something to someone and not communicating. And if you have to throw on a funny filter to then express yourself, at least you expressed yourself. And that's how I felt about it too.
Yeah.
And I still do think that is the case. Like, my girlfriend now, she will never snap me without a filter on. And I think that's fine. I asked her about this, and she was like, no, filters are just fun. People are going to wear makeup. This is fine. Like, I don't know. I told her that you were leaving, you wanted to leave Snapchat because of it. And she's like, nah, she's overreacting.
Yeah. I mean, I am. It is an overreaction, but because there is over harm. So I'm genuinely, like, when I go to the Snap Map and I go to like Colombia and check out what people are posting there, what people are posting all around the world, and I see, these 12, 13, 14-year-olds using the filters. They post publicly, even though maybe they shouldn't. And it's all these filters that change their features, and it just makes me sad. And partially because I don't want to see it that I deleted it. Maybe it's to protect myself. I have a much younger sister, so I was very conscious of the impact of technology on her, and on my own well-being. So I think it's time to overreact if it means to, protect yourself and your loved ones.
Yeah. On the one hand, I'm like, yeah, I think the thing about like plastic surgery is I wish, plastic surgery was free. I wish everyone could just modify their body to their heart's content. Like you said, like they could do it. They could put on a snap filter, find the thing they want, take it to a plastic surgeon and change it. But at this moment, plastic surgery is not democratized.
Well, I would I wouldn't quite agree with you there, because
Wait, what? Wait, what?
in two ways I wouldn't agree with you. Okay, so I'm from Turkey and I go back to Istanbul a lot. And in the last few years, the medical tourism there has absolutely boomed. It's so affordable. And when I go into like a beauty center, and I get, facials, I get lasers. Um, it's just the price, partially because of the currency exchange, but also because there's really highly skilled workers and a lot of them, lots of really skilled doctors and practitioners and people coming from all over the world. So you can't walk down the street without seeing someone who's just gotten some type of work done. So it's actually becoming more and more available to a younger and younger audience. And so I think that's around the corner that this is going to be even more readily available. Now there's like packages being sold. So you're in the US, you like write what you want, you talk to someone over the internet, and then you buy this package where they pay for your, you pay for your, flight, but they arrange everything else like your hotel stay and it's this whole package. So I think it's becoming more and more available, and more so than we think.
That's nuts. That's nuts to hear.
Mm-hmm. And the other part that I would sort of disagree is that there is a thing where sometimes, as we all know, we experience serious bottoms in our lives, where we are really looking to hang on to life and hang on somehow to find some type of joy, and we try to control things on the outside. As we're dealing with a lot of trauma, or sometimes just unidentifiable emotions on the inside. So I'm worried that when it's readily available, that in a moment like that, where you're trying to control to be able to feel some joy or ease the pain, and if it's so easy, you can go and do modifications to a point where it might be more harmful than helpful, which doesn't mean I'm not against it. It's just, and I've benefited from it as well, not the non-invasive side, but I'm worried that it's not going to necessarily contribute to an overall collective well-being of society having easy access to it.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Everyone has a right to feel beautiful. I would love to see people comfortable in their skin and make modifications in a way that makes them happy. At the same time, those moments in our lives where we're looking for happiness in the wrong places is a real issue, as someone who's experienced that a lot.
Yeah. My original hope for the snap lenses were that, not that people would I didn't think that, I guess I imagined that the mainstream beauty filters would become popular, but I thought that equally popular would be the ones where you're like, your face is just insane looking and you become like an avatar that's just like, a cloud of gas with sunglasses on and stuff like that. And I was excited for people to disassociate from the human body and just, identify with a weird avatar that they downloaded. And I don't think that's happening.
It could be, though they might not be posting it.
Yeah. There's a few like Instagram accounts that they're not filters, but they're like super modified. Like, do you know like Salvia? She's like UK model. She just looks like a total like goth, like albino freak, like bug alien.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Anthropomorph is another one. There's a few Instagram accounts where it's not filters, it's like Photoshop mixed with like cinema movie makeup, and it's awesome. Like that is like the direction I was hoping mainstream, and I guess they're pushing the mainstream there, because like Salvia I think was like in Vogue or some kind of like large publication, so I think it is going there. But
they're training our eyes to be able to accept the creativity that the world has to offer and the diversity the world has to offer.
So what do you think? A lot of people are saying now Snap's dead. Is Snap dead?
I mean, why? I don't think Snapchat will die. God forbid. I would never want them to die. I would just want them to make a few modifications, pun intended, um, especially to the discovery section.
What's the matter with the discovery section?
I'm
It's
going
like
to see.
mostly publications, right? Like Daily Mail. Is that what you're talking about? Like Daily
Uh,
Mail, Barstool Sports, are they there? I can't remember like other ones.
have you tried like unfollowing the ones that you don't want to see?
I don't think so. No.
It
Why?
doesn't work.
It
It
doesn't work.
works, but it gets worse because you get to the bottom of the content. You know, at least the New York Times is giving you like somewhat decent content, but which again, it's okay to have access to this, except I don't want to see it next to my posts from my friends because I'm focused on my friends' posts and it just grabs my attention and I find myself in there. I want to have it a little bit more voluntary. It doesn't feel as voluntary right now.
Mm. So if you were head of Snap right now, like what design changes would you make?
I mean, how design works is very complicated. There's a lot of moving pieces that need to be thought out individually and as a whole. Um, and I don't know what the driving vision Snapchat has for itself anymore. Camera company is how I remember them as describing themselves, and I think they're giving a lot of emphasis on AR. So I think I'm still waiting for what we used to do at BetaWorks, which was location based, and user generated AR. So we used to work on a product where you could leave secret messages on top of things for your friends to find, right? Like you can leave, like if you're in high school on the math book, you can leave like gifts and messages, and then when your friend scans the same book, they can access it and add on to it. I'm still waiting for like a experience that we can all have fun with collectively that I think is going to draw a lot of people into Snap, not just their existing users.
Yeah, I mean, were you pretty excited about what's the game? Pokemon game? What's the game? Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I was
Pretty
Pokemon.
pumped about that when
I
that came
I
out.
liked it. I liked it, but like it was funny because the day that it came out or that week, my cousin and I went out. He was like what 12 at the time. We were looking for Pokemons, and then we found these like baby birds who had fell off of their nests, and we had to take them in and take care of them. So it was supposed to be a fun experience, turned into us having to take care of birds and all of them one by one dying during our care. So I have like a weird taste in my mouth with
So you
Pokemon.
never went back out after that?
I think I did a few times, but um, I really enjoyed my friends having fun with it.
That first day, the first like 1 or 2 days, I have a video of it because I went to like a public park and everyone was on their phones and they were like, "Oh yeah, there's a Caterpie over there if you want." And it was honestly, it was the dream that you wanted.
Yes,
It
yes.
was the public. It was turning every public space, no matter what it looked like, it gave value to like every space. It
It
was
was so
cool.
beautiful, and I never understood why people complained about it. It was just this collective thing you did outside from all walks of life, kind of enjoying it. It was very beautiful. Yeah.
It was. It was, and I was into it for like 3 days, and then it was done. I don't know why. I guess maybe I don't know. I know a lot of people are still doing it. There's still a huge group of people doing it, but my
Yeah.
excitement was gone after a few days. I think that the same vision you have is. I
Novel.
think it's inevitable. The idea of like an overlay of reality and leaving things in places. Like, yeah, I think it's gonna happen, and Snap seems to be like one of the people pushing towards it. They're they have they're on Spectacles 3 now, I believe,
Oh,
and they're not what you hope, which is like putting on glasses and seeing like an overlay of like digital things over reality. It's just taking a video and then augmenting that video, but it is kind of
never
cool.
had that expectation. I love the pitch where the founder said that he had never experienced a moment in his past like the way he did after watching what he recorded with the glasses, and that pitch was enough for me because I'm a photographer and I love being able to go into my archives and viewing them and just being able to, I bought them, I used them until my dog ate it. And
Wait, you had Spectacles, which version? One?
I think the first one.
Your dog ate them?
Yeah.
Classic.
Puppy. Oh my God. I came home one day, had left it on the table, gone, chewed. One of her most expensive lunches.
That's so funny. I had Spectacles 1, they broke, and I sent them in. They sent me Spectacles 2 for free, which was awesome. And I actually just lost them in the ocean like a month ago. I was like jumping over a wave and they went shoof, flew off my head. I could not find them.
Oh, damn it. So was that the one that you filmed the doggy video?
Oh, yeah, those are the same glasses. Yeah, I put them on my brother's dog, and the dog jumped off the roof into the water, into the pool. Yeah.
Are you on
TikTok? Huh?
Are you on TikTok?
I have an account, but I haven't posted a lot.
On TikTok.
I should, but you're right. I should actually. You know what's so funny is I sent it because I have a friend. My friend Ellis Hamburger is like a PR person for Snapchat.
Huh? Oh yeah, I follow Hamburger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I sent him that video, and he was like, "I'm gonna send this to our like promo team." And then they were like, "Oh, sick. We're gonna post this to our like feeds on National Dog Day, which was I think August 26th. I want to say." And then like one day before National Dog Day, they were like, "Our lawyers say this might be animal abuse, so we're not gonna post it."
Animal abuse? Oh, that's so interesting. That explains so much about.
They weren't sure that it was, but they didn't even want to like. They didn't want to like mess with it. So they're like, nah.
I mean, the dog looked so happy.
It was excited. No, the dog was happy to do it.
So happy, yeah.
Oh. But it was dangerous. I mean,
yeah. Now that I think about it, actually, man, it sucks to be a lawyer. You're right. I can see why that would be a problem now.
But the thing you were saying about like reliving the moment of like when you were shooting videos with the snap glasses and then you re-looked at them, it really did like it was like you were looking at a memory for sure, even though the video was absolute trash.
Exactly. And you know, reminiscing is just feels so good sometimes that I'll take whatever, you know, medium is available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took him on a long hike. I hiked the John Muir Trail.
I saw the video.
Yeah, and it was so nice to just hit the button and anytime I was too tired to take out a real camera. What do you think? What else? The state of Snap. What's happened since 2016?
I think I've kind of gotten hurt a little bit in the industry. So when I talked to Kent, I had just moved to the Bay Area to campus. My husband's in grad school, and you know, 4 years later, how long has it been?
That was May of 2016.
Whoa, yes. So a lot happened in those 4 years, and I, you know, worked in Silicon Valley and got to experience firsthand its you know, glam, and also glam is definitely not the right word, but it's kind of privileges and also pain points, especially as a woman working in tech. So I think I got a little jaded. So that's also why I can't quite, I think, judge Snap in the right way. I would rather leave it to a fresher sort of audience to be able to make those judgments. A lot happened with Facebook. I joined their Oculus program, Oculus, when it first came out, their creator program. And then the other companies that I worked with, it was just lots of incidents where, you know, one by one, I kind of lost a little bit of hope until recently.
And what happened then? What happened recently?
Something happened where, you know, a group of people came together wanting to do something, in my opinion, very bold, and I joined them, and I'm hoping that, you know, we can make an impact and change things up a little bit around here.
You know what's crazy is I was so excited about VR. You were making AR, and I was excited about VR in 2016.
Right.
Everyone, I was like and I think maybe in the summer of 2016, I bought a Vive. I bought a Vive and a dinosaur PC to run the Vive. And I went into VR and I was doing all the apps, playing all the games, social VR, everything. And it just seems like it has not changed in 4 years. Like different things have come out, but the technology hasn't. I guess no, the technology has changed. I mean, the new Facebook stuff. I call it Oculus Facebook. The new the Oculus stuff is really nice. Like it's so much smaller, it's so much lighter, it's better, but it doesn't seem like, I don't know. There's not the community that I thought was going to grow around VR hasn't really happened. Maybe I'm not tuned into it, or I don't know. Have you been on VR a lot?
Well, when something comes out in the beginning, a lot of people who are really attracted to it for, a variety of reasons come together, and there's that initial excitement because of that, and then the real hard work begins, right? I think we're still in the hard work phase, and I'm still expecting more and more people to experience VR and use it on a weekly basis, if not daily.
Yeah.
I think we're in that quiet hard work phase where the real sort of dedicated folks are left, and I think they will see the fruit of their labor. They're already seeing it, but they might enjoy more spotlight time in the future.
What do you think is going to be the point, like what do they call it? Like when everyone's on VR, like what's going to change it? Do you think there's rumors Apple is working on AR glasses and VR glasses. Do you think it's when Apple comes out with their thing? Is that when it goes mainstream?
There might be. I can see it going. I think the future is unwritten, and it could go in a few directions. One in which I predict that there could be technology fatigue to a point where people after quarantine might want to just be outside for a while. Like we might get a huge backlash and be like, I'm detoxing. I'm going to use light phone, that phone that, doesn't do much but call your mom. I might want to just barbecue outside nonstop. And, there's going to, I think, be a phase where there's a backlash. How long will that be? I mean, it could be just a month. It could be years. And then afterwards, I think as the technology evolves and there's quick adaptation between realities, I think that's the most important point here, right? Should be as easy as this to switch from one to the other. Once we have that, then it's not going to be about even the tool anymore. It's just going to be something that we start using to enhance our lives.
Yeah. It's still a little bulky, still a little, weird, but I think all the social VR is there. Like technologically, I feel like it's there. Like have you used a lot of social VR? Like AltSpace, what's the other one? I think it's just called VR Chat. VR Chat's like the big open source one. And I feel like it all works perfectly. It's just that not that many people are doing it. It's weird.
Yeah, it was 4 years ago where I, worked on designing a car with a guy in France in real time with doodling in VR. That was 4 years ago. It was
I was having a blast. I was like, I'm a pioneer, but any day now, everyone else is going to be doing this. And honestly, I sold my Vive 2 months ago. I was like, because it was kind of overkill. Now I don't want to buy Facebook's product, but I gotta admit it's incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Again, I mean, it needs to be as easy as this. This is my phone. I just put it down. I pick it up, right?
I am excited for it though.
But I'm not sure if our focus, I mean, as builders, we're always going to be really interested in the tools themselves. That's the nature of our business. We should know our shit and be able to advance. However, I personally speaking, I want to focus on the result of the tool rather than the tool itself. So the intention being the results first, and then adjusting the tool based on that intention.
Yeah. Going off of that, what would you hope the intention for Snapchat would be? I guess originally you were saying to bring about authenticity, but what does that actually mean? Like, we could talk about what we saw as the differences between traditional social media and Snapchat and why we thought that this tool was going to bring about these results. One being like that the snaps disappear. What's the technical word that people love for that?
Ephemerality.
Ephemerality. That's the one. Yeah, and because nothing was ephemeral before that. The internet was like a permanent ink. You know, everything you did you could go back and see it. And the past 4 years we have seen how many people have looked back at people's old tweets and canceled them, and now everyone's afraid to make mistakes on the internet. And that's what we saw. We saw Snapchat as like this place where everything was disposable, and there was no popular page. You weren't trying to grow your audience, and so there was this like pocket of safety where you could make mistakes, you could be messy, and you could be, quote, yourself or authentic, whatever that means.
I think there was, I don't know how much Snapchat influenced the trend, but I think there was a general trend within a group of people in a certain age group that was getting fatigued by the over curated, over controlled imagery of Instagram. And they started to use whatever means was possible, including Snapchat, to be able to do something different. So I think Snap happened to be there and also, created the space for that to happen. But also people, had those authentic experiences somewhat on YouTube, somewhat on other Instagram accounts. And I think the trend spilled over, and, those unedited, more candid photos at least on your Finsta, which I don't know if that's still a thing, were popping up everywhere. I think actually I'm not sure chicken and egg who influenced what exactly, but I think that we did see that authenticity trend. I think we're still seeing it now.
Yeah. What do you think is authenticity?
So if you were to ask me 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, people being able to say what they feel, talk about what they're experiencing, be creative in a way that they enjoy and be able to share that with the world through the internet. Being able to be true to your emotions, not have to hide things so much, or not have to overexpose yourself in hopes of gaining recognition. That's unhealthy too. But now I think we're at a different phase. I think as a collective, we're learning a lot about we're developing. We're learning how racism in subtle ways impacts everyone around us. We're learning how gender discrimination works. We're learning how our words matter, how our stares matter, our stink eye matters, like everything matters. And, I don't think people are, teenagers are just afraid of, being themselves on social media. They're also kind of learning how to be in the real world. And so are adults. There's a lot of adults that kind of like read the room first and then now make an opinion, state their opinion. So I think we're as humanity in the U.S. At least I can only speak for this country, maybe a little bit to Turkey, but there's a collective like characteristic. How would I express this? Like a change in the way we are as a community.
So before, you would say maybe 4 years ago, you thought authenticity was just, no filter. Like, here's what I think, here's what I feel. And now because we felt like the filter, the thinking about what I want to say before I say it was inauthentic. But now, but now we're thinking, okay, actually, the filter is a demonstration of my conscientiousness about who's around me, right? It's less selfish, I guess. I don't know, but I still feel like the original authentic, there's something to it. You know what I mean? Like there is something to just saying what you feel, and then, you know, maybe just having to live with the consequences. Maybe people react and tell you you're being a jerk or something, and maybe you have to like then receive that criticism back. But I don't know. But I do agree with you. Like I used to think that exact same way, that the no filter was the more authentic thing. But now I'm like, okay, but yeah, just thinking about others' feelings isn't inauthentic. That's just trying. I don't know.
Caring and trying to make sure that, you know, you're being yourself, but you're not hurting others in the process. And how does one be authentic if one does not know oneself? Yeah. And that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I don't know. When I got interested in this, I started like reading about just how to have good communication, just in general, and like one of the key things is just being vulnerable, like actually, you know, spilling your guts, saying what you feel. And I saw places like Twitter as the last place you would say exactly what you feel. It's snark and it's irony. And like Instagram is just like glamour. And, you know, like there was no place where you could be vulnerable. And I did see Snapchat as the place where you could be vulnerable, because I followed some people that were from Vine, that I saw from Vine. And the thing that I think I told you about this, the thing that was like the catalyst that I was like, oh my God, Snapchat is the one place where we can be real. So I saw someone who was from Vine, and she just posted a series of snaps of herself crying about how she's just like a bad person.
Well, I've never cried on Snapchat before, so I could put a little check next to that. My eyebrows look good. That's the only thing good going on in my life. I'm not.
And then she's fucked up, and nobody could like me. And then a bunch of her followers who like followed her Snap reached out to her and gave her a bunch of like words of encouragement. And then she posted another series of snaps saying, "Thanks, you guys. You made me feel really good." And I was like, "Oh my God, Snapchat! It's the dark horse of authenticity. It's gonna save us."
That sigh at the end.
But I don't know. I still do think, because like I was reading, and I don't know. I wanted to eventually like make a video or something about like a report about the difference between Snapchat and other social networks, and what it's doing right and what it could do better, things like that. And I got lost in the sauce. I read so many things. I got, and similarly to Kent Bai, who the podcast you're on, Voices of VR, he's prolific. I think he's almost on 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
He's only been so he was going to start another podcast called the Voices of AI, because he was like, well, I can't talk about VR without talking about AI, because they're using so much AI. So I got to learn everything about AI. And I was like, well, how can I learn about social networks if I don't understand psychology or like basic programming, or like, you know, there's so many facets to it. And so I just got lost in the sauce. And yeah, I don't know. And then Snap has changed so much in all these years.
Well, how have you changed in the process?
I don't know. Like I don't know. I thought that I was almost at a conclusion that I could really say something and really get behind it and be like, this is what we should do. This is what needs to happen. Like I wanted a solution for social networks, like the antidote, like the silver bullet, to be like, here's what we need to do. Because I had read about the early internet and how it was like the dream of, you know, because we're outside of our bodies, there's no borders between, you know, I could be talking to someone in another country and we don't see each other, and it's this like melting pot of ideas and sort of a digital utopia. and dissolving governments, and it's just people and ideas. And I thought that like maybe that is still possible. I thought, and the reason why it's not happening is because everything's on the back of like the advertising industry, and everything is really just incentivizing engagement and making us angry and making us just reactive rather than actually communicating. And I still do think that. And the Social Dilemma thankfully did a lot of the work that I didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the Social Dilemma?
I did, yeah.
So luckily, if you watch the Social Dilemma, that's all I was trying to say mostly. But I wanted to say how to fix it though, because they don't really say how to fix it. Like how would you start designing a social network to encourage vulnerability, to encourage communication that is like open and I don't know.
It starts with small communities. It starts with human relationships. It starts with friend groups and families. And then as we collectively are satisfied within them, then, it's nice to reach out and expand. But oftentimes when we speak about social media, we forget, are we talking about staying in touch with our loved ones, or are we talking about discovering people that we might want to be friends with, or we might want to be influenced by?
Yeah.
I think Facebook has really blurred the lines between those two things, and we're very confused because of it.
Yeah, don't they call that context collapse?
Exactly.
There is no, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you read How to Do Nothing?
Mm-mm.
Oh, next book.
How to Do Nothing? Oh, I think I have heard of it. Did you recommend it to me, or I don't know why I've heard of it.
You probably heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's excellent and talks about context collapse, and just it's a kind of a series of essays where the author just does a great job explaining where we are.
Mm. So you feel like the solution is smaller groups, and the smaller groups will are the context that will you'll have context in that smaller group, because it's like, I don't know.
Well, the solution it's two ways. As a builder, I have solutions. As a consumer, I think it's all about being very careful and hyper curating what information you're subject to. As a consumer, I really think we should, start to overreact and, make sure we have enough space for ourselves to not be influenced and inspired by, random content that the algorithm gives you.
Do you think that goal, the original goal of like what Twitter is, where it's just like the global, what do they call it, town square? Do you think that's like it could never happen, or do you think like something as big as that, where everyone's on it at once, all at once, being reactive, like is that never gonna work?
Like, I'm actually quite proud of how people are on Twitter. Having seen so much, cursing and calling each other out in ways that could be harmful, and then seeing how that kind of evolved into more discussions. I think Twitter, people on Twitter are also changing and evolving, and I feel like I see it. I could be, of course, wrong. It's just me observing, but I'm quite happy with where Twitter has gone in terms of just being able to quickly take the pulse of, at least that environment. It just certainly doesn't represent the rest of the country and cultures, but for what it is, it's useful to me.
Think so? I don't know. It's funny because like my friends just were talking about how like just stay off Twitter, never tweet, don't like anything, just get off Twitter. Like literally, it's like the last thing in our group chat.
Yeah, but this is assuming you're, again, sort of hyper curating what you're seeing. I mean, the people I follow, the people I unfollow or block, or I put care an attention into exactly what is coming my way, for sure. There is no such thing as plug and play anymore with social media. You have to take a few hours every week to make sure that you're consuming what you want to consume, not what people are pushing.
So you think do you think that there'll ever be like an algorithm that can actually give you a healthy curation of content? Or you think it always has to be a feedback between the user program? That's a weird question.
Yeah, I'm not that concerned about that relationship. It's more about the human being caring about what, how we care about what we put into our bodies for the most part. We try to, at least. We should also try to care about what we consume. I'm laughing at the filter I have on right now.
I just put on a filter. It gave me a nice nose job.
You have no pores, and your teeth is super white. Maybe you actually normally don't have any pores.
Definitely have pores.
No, it's your lips.
It's funny because
of the color contrast is gone, but they put a nice little blush on.
Blush. The funny thing about the filters is they always make you more feminine. There aren't any filters that smooth your skin and make you, like, I don't know, have like a thicker chin. Like they're all towards the feminine spectrum, there is the one that turns you into a dude, like that turns men into women or women into men. And when I put that one on, it gives me like a bigger chin and like, it makes my voice deeper.
Oh my God. Can I take this conversation to something really heavy before we end it on that note? Yeah. You know that filter that makes you a man? So when I first saw that, I had a very, very emotional experience because after I was born, my parents got an abortion, and I always thought that the child was going to be a boy. I just had the sense that it would have been a boy. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, for a second, I thought, oh my God, this person would have been a year younger than me and would have looked something like this. And I just was so moved in that moment, not in a great way, but I just had this really kind of emotional experience looking at myself as a man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It probably would have looked like your brother, because whenever I put the girl filter on, I look exactly like my sister.
No, really?
For sure.
It's so interesting. Oh, that's so interesting. You had a lot of siblings, right? If I remember.
Yeah, I'm one of 7.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it looks exactly like him. I don't know. Where's it? Oh, do you know filter-wise, the anime filter? Did you see that one?
Yeah, I love this one.
Anime filter is very good. One of my recent favorites.
It's really amazing. We should have just had the whole conversation like that.
I still think Snap is their philosophy is still different than other companies, though. I think mostly it's just for messaging. Like, I do post stories, but it's not really my priority anymore. It's the main way I communicate with my girlfriend. Like, it's because you can send videos, my Bitmoji can express itself. They have a new Memoji. Have you seen the Memoji?
Yes.
That thing is bonkers.
Really
There's so many. There's so many options. Really crazy. I still think it's prioritizing, like you said, like it's prioritizing smaller groups. And I mean, I guess it's prioritizing one-on-one chats, but I guess I do have a few group chats in there too, which is interesting. I still think, I'm not saying get back on Snapchat, but I do think they're still headed the right direction compared to other social networks.
Yeah.
But then part of me is like, I don't. Okay, go ahead.
No, it's a very powerful tool. I mean, okay, you're having fun with your girlfriend in real life, and then the only really equivalent experience right now to that on the internet that you can have with her, at least like somewhat to that degree, never equal, of course, it is still Snapchat one-on-one messaging, with all the stuff that you can do with it.
Yeah, we like another thing. Like my girlfriend and I play games on Snapchat. Like I don't know if you played the games. Like right now, I haven't seen her for like 3 weeks, and so we do play games every day. We try to snap it, and it does feel it's different. Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. Part of me started to feel like, what's so bad about trying to get fans? Like, what's like, because I look at TikTok, like you mentioned that earlier. TikTok is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
As a person who's like a video editor and like shooter, whenever I look at TikTok and the interface and how like shooting and editing has become simultaneous, like you're seeing the effects live, you're seeing like the slow motion live, you're seeing everything is happening as you're capturing it. And I'm saying, and this is incredible. These kids are geniuses because this is native to them. Like this is all they've ever known. They don't shoot and then import it into a computer and then out effects. It's happening out once, and then they're getting fans, and it's fun, and they're having fun, and it's collaborative too. Like everybody's sharing the backing tracks, they're sharing the same effects. Like there's this thing in TikTok where it's like it doesn't even like, although there are definitely popular creators, there are famous people on TikTok. To me, like the stars of the TikTok are the trends, like are whatever trend is going on at any one time. And so it feels like a shared experience to me. And so I don't know, there's something and TikTok is all about, you are still trying to grow your audience. You're trying to become famous. But to me, I don't know, there's something really beautiful about that the feeling of the collectivity and the shared.
Yes. And feeling connected.
Yeah. I don't know. So like, as much as I'm like, Snapchat's good for siloing or trying to disincentivize growing an audience, I look at TikTok and see that as like a really good thing, or at least a really interesting, fun thing.
Well, there's space. No, I understand. There's space for both. I think TikTok is a huge blessing during, since we've been dealing with COVID, where all the kids who are inside have something to play with and create, a tool to create. And I recently saw the drafts of a 16-year-old's TikTok, and she has more drafts that she enjoys watching for herself, and maybe she'll post it one day, than she has posts. And just seeing her navigate TikTok and not use the rest of the platforms as much has also been interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about? An hour is a good length for a podcast.
I guess so. An hour is a good length for many things, right?
I should have wrote down notes, but I wanted this to be like free flowing.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like, I was just curious, like, when you were talking about solutions for the social media sort of issues that social media is causing, I felt like you wanted this sort of sense of satisfaction in finding a solution for the general well-being of people. I was wondering if, like, that satisfaction, is it possible? Is it real? Like, is there a way to feel satisfied? And also, what is that about? Is it like your personal sort of journey where you need a degree of satisfaction with the tools that you use, or is it more about the well-being of the general community?
Yeah, it's funny because I remember last time we talked, for some reason you asked me, like, what was the first thing you wanted to be, like, as a kid when you grew up? And I had just talked to my mom before, like a few days before that, and she told me that I wanted to be a policeman as my first job. And now, with this last year, that's a whole new, like, there's so much more context for that. Like, I would never want to be a policeman today. But you interpret it as you saw it very positively. You were like, oh, so you just wanted to, like, help people and just I don't know,
Justice.
Yeah, justice. I do want. I think that I have something deep inside me, and something where I'm like, I'm a white male, you know, I have to use my privilege for something. Like, how do I use what I have in the society to help more people? And I don't know. Yeah, I in school, I majored. I have a degree in film production, but I also like made my own minor, which was called like meta media, where I studied like psychology, neuroscience,
Right.
graphic design, all kinds of like all that stuff. Because I could see when I was in college in like, you know, like 2000 early like 2006 to 10 or
Uh-huh.
11,
Yeah.
I could see that like social media like becoming the main way that people were communicating. And so I was really interested in how to. I saw the classic media as the thing that shaped people's perspectives of reality, like TV, film, newspapers before that, as the thing that shaped the way people saw each other, and the growing social media movement as the new way that people's perspectives were of the world were shaped. I and so I was like always paying attention to this stuff, and so I felt a responsibility as someone who was paying attention to all this stuff to look for a solution. I saw everything that was wrong, mostly based on the business model of advertising, incentivizing all kinds of bad things. And I was like, okay, this needs to, I just felt like I needed to not only say what was wrong, but also think about how to fix it. How would you make a spectacle or like a, like a media system where that brought about more justice in the world, where people actually had more agency, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. And I felt like I was the one that could do it. I felt like
How about
I
now?
had the tools. How about now? How do I feel now about it?
Mhm.
No, I felt like the social network did a really good job, and I'm like, I was like, job. But I still think that they didn't come up with the solution. Wait, what'd you say?
Yeah, I know what that means.
Yeah.
It's a mix.
Like, I wanted to be the one to say it because I was saying these exact things, you know, 5 years before this movie came out.
You were.
And so I was mad about it, but I'm glad they did a good job and that they found ways to illustrate the ideas, because they're abstract ideas. Algorithms are so crazy to explain to people, and I think they did some really good job, a really good job dramatizing it. So I'm really happy they did it, but now I still feel like the conversation about how to fix social media is not even started. Like, what do? We know what we don't like. That movie did a good job of illustrating what we don't like, and so I don't know.
We're gonna need journalists like you.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of, like I said, I got lost in the sauce for years, so I have a lot of inklings and things that I think are the pathways towards better social media, but I really don't know.
Okay, so I take that as there is still a degree of like individual satisfaction that you're hoping to achieve from taking what you learned and making something out of it. So I hope I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's going to be.
Me too.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for being here. I'll stop the recording, but we can continue talking post-recording. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks to Dugu.
Duigu, yeah, that's so good. Oh my
Dugu
God.
Daniels. If you want to follow her on Twitter, I think. What is her? Oh yeah, it's just DUYGUD. Oh wait, GUDANIELS. Duigu Daniels.
Aw.
And I look forward to what your secret project you're working on now. I'm excited. I'll keep paying attention to see what it'll be. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the words of encouragement. Your warm reception.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.